All right. I will warn you guys right now as you jump on. We have a fired up Taylor Corn with us tonight. Auburn is on its way to the Sweet 16. As we get her initial thoughts, I will tell you the show is brought to you by our friends at Culver's and also by the wonderful folks at Night Edie who are bringing March Madness back to Birmingham. Let me tell you about them first because this is. You remember how we had Auburn and Alabama play in the NCAA tournament in Birmingham? That's because of events like this. Support this event. Let's keep Auburn and Alabama close to home when the men's tournament comes back to Birmingham. Go support the ladies March 28th through the 31st. Sweet 16 Elite 8 games. You can get your tickets ncaa.com/WBB tickets. That's ncaa.com/WBB tickets. Auburn wins tonight 82-70 over Creighton. Back to the Sweet 16. Taylor, take it away.
Tahaad Pettiford, primetime Pettiford. He steps up again when the brights are lightest. Tahaad shows up. Tahaad
I
shows
could,
up.
I could have scripted it. I knew the first words out of your mouth were going to be Tahaad Pettiford.
Yeah, he led the team in scoring. He led the team in assists. He had, uh, let's see, if the stat or the box score will load. Um, he had 3
23
assists. He had
points.
6
Yeah.
rebounds. Tahaad
Yeah.
Pettiford had 6 rebounds, 5 of them being defensive rebounds. I mean, he stepped up,
I-
but but what do you have
he
something to say?
is. No, he is. I mean,
Okay,
I
okay.
knew you were going to say that, but he deserves it all tonight. He did it all.
He did, and I would like to say that before a real takeaway, other than me just saying Todd Pettiford's name, was that other than Ja'Kai Howard played, let me see how many minutes. Not a few after Chad got injured, but he played 2 minutes. Everyone aside from Ja'Kai, everyone that stepped on the court scored points.
Yeah.
So
It was a team effort, and I think that is so huge. The second half actually went the way I thought the whole game would go. I was surprised in the first half. Am I right about this? They hit 11 threes, Creighton did in the first half, or they had a lot, nine in the first half, something
9 in the
like
first
that.
half.
Nine threes in the first half. The only people that had hit nine or more threes all year against Auburn in an entire game was Duke, Florida, and Texas A&M. What do those teams have in common? They all beat Auburn. They all beat Auburn. And I was sitting here going, they've hit nine threes in the first half. And then they had 11 when it was still close. And then they only hit one more three. And that's what I thought the game would be like, Taylor. I thought Auburn's defense, what it was the last 16 minutes, I thought it would be that the whole game. But in the end, it's one of your favorite phrases, other than Todd Pettiford, is defense travels, and defense was there in the second half. Creighton couldn't get any. I keep wanting to call them Duke because of those blue uniforms. Creighton could not get any. They couldn't get any shots off in the second half. Auburn's defense squeezed them to death.
Yeah, and I mean, it was every three they took seemed like it was falling in the first half. But I think
Yes.
something that was back, something that we saw on this team was fight again. They looked disinterested yesterday or Thursday, but we saw the energy and we saw the fight of the team that we watched play, the first few months of the season. And I think that a lot of that energy, a lot of that excitement returned tonight. So the call out, or whatever you want to call it, by Stephen Pearl, by Dylan Cardwell, by Bruce in all of their press conferences, it was a reality check and it worked.
Yeah, a lot of prime nicknames coming in for NH3 425, Tahaad Primetime Pettiford, War Denver Eagle, Chad Shake and Bake Mazara, and War Eagle he throws in there at the end. A lot of guys fired up. SEC champ Troy, they tried hard to screw us. He wasn't happy with some of the officiating there early on, especially on some of the Janai and Kalkbrenner back and forth. But when it was all said and done, Auburn had 19 second chance points. And they've got a 7'1", 7'2" guy, but 19 second chance points. And that's just another plus for Janai, but really Dylan Cardwell, Cheney Johnson, and all the folks that got in, all the folks that got in there, Pettiford, and got the rebounds tonight. Those second chance points were the difference in the game.
Yeah, that they out rebounded Creighton by 10. They were plus 10 on the boards. And then something else that I noticed prior to the game starting was how few. I think that Creighton averages 8 bench points a game, and we talked about this prior to the game. They really only have 6 players in their rotation. They have 6 players that play really, really, really heavy minutes, and Auburn. I mean, Auburn had 31 bench points. Tahaad Pettiford accounting for a lot of those to Creighton's 10. So I mean, it was they fought when they were down. They trailed. They never folded, which you wouldn't expect a team to do in a game that's win or go home. But after what we saw on Thursday, I think people were a little bit concerned about the mental state of where this team was. But after the game, talking to Chad Baker Mazara, I said, what does it mean to be able to continue to play with the guys in this locker room? Because as we've heard all season, this is an older team. There are a
Yep.
lot of seniors and a lot of guys that are going to be out of eligibility after this year. And Chad said, I said before the game, Chad said before the game, guys, this do we really want this to be it? He said, I don't want practice to be over. I don't want the games to be over. I don't want team meetings to be over. And if we lose this game, it's all over. So let's not let this be our last game. And I mean, I asked a number of the guys the same question because that's something that they talked about after the game. You know, if we play like this again, our season's going to be done. And they were almost a little bit emotional, just saying, you know, we love each other. We love each other. We spend a lot of time together outside of basketball off the court. And, you know, we want to play 4 more games.
Yeah, I get emotional thinking about it. You know, we'll experience the same thing. No, seriously,
I
we'll
know you
experience the
do.
same. We'll experience the same thing tomorrow. I don't want either. I don't want season to end. I don't want either team to not ever. They'll never be together again. It gets very emotional. We've all, as athletes, you had it at Vestavia.
Yeah.
I had it at Thompson. We have all experienced when you play sports. Eventually, you play your last game, and it becomes a it either becomes a cross you bear and you can't handle the thing, or it's a motivator. And tonight it was a motivator. John W. saying this was a team win, not a Broom win, not a Mazara win. It was a team win. And it was. I mean, Broom did his part, not a big scoring night, did a lot of other stuff. But Tahaad had 23, hit 50% of his shots, 7 of 14. Chad Baker had 17, hit 6 of 12, 50% of his shots. Denver had 15 points tonight. 7 of 19 for threes. They rebounded hard, but that defense was so good. John W. is right. It was absolutely a team effort. Hunter says, Tahad, if you're watching this, drinks on me, bruh. Tahad, I think the joke is, I think Todd's the one guy on the team not old enough to drink there, Hunter. No, the Ashworth kid for for Creighton. I mean, how old is that guy?
I
I
don't know.
mean,
He's got to have a wife and kids.
he does. They showed it on the broadcast the whole
Okay.
time. Yeah, absolutely. He's got a baby boy. It looks to be about 8 months, 9 months old.
Well,
Uh,
congratulations
I,
to
I,
him.
I want to say the kid is called Tommy Boy. Is that right? Tommy Boy?
I didn't know that he had a child. I was
Yeah,
joking.
yeah. No, he does. Flat out has a kid. And I
Mm.
joked, I joked on Twitter after watching him play in the first half. I was like, that guy remembers when the tournament expanded to 64 teams. He's my age. Um, as we continue our post game here, Auburn wins it. They're going back to the Sweet 16. Taylor's going to give me another thought on the game after I tell you about our friends at Culver's, who are also bringing us all of our postseason coverage here. The Culver's Deluxe Fresh, Never Frozen ground beef on a butter bun with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and American cheese cooked to order. Create your own concrete mixer as well. I love a good concrete mixer right now. Choose from Culver's many toppings. Have them added to your custard and blended together. It's all right there with our friends at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious. Your next thought, Taylor, on what you saw tonight.
Aside
Or
from the free throws, Dylan was 3 of 3 from the field tonight, which is good. Which is he had 6 points, and then Cheney Johnson seems to be back. We talked about it after the game on Thursday, but he went through a couple game stretch where he wasn't as effective offensively that we saw him be when Janai was out a little bit earlier in the season. But he seems to be hitting his stride again, and so I think that the culmination of Denver hitting big shots. Tahaad obviously had a huge night. Um, Cheney finding his stride again. Chad. I mean, all of them. I think that will be so important moving forward because if one guy's off, you're not screwed. You have a lot of guys that you can depend on.
I don't want to go too far down and start looking Sweet 16 next week in Atlanta, but SEC Champs Choice says now comes the hardest challenge outside of Florida left in the tournament. I thought everybody on the Auburn side was worried about Texas A&M. I told you it'd be Michigan. They do have two legit big guys on the inside. They work well together. You got Trey Donaldson who comes from the Auburn family. That'll be an interesting matchup. But let's don't. We got all week to talk about that one. We will get to that one. I love Auburn in that matchup too, just like I loved them tonight for a variety of different reasons. But I thought Texas A&M let that game get away tonight. I thought Texas A&M had that one for most of the night. AU Clay, Pettiford was hot tonight. Hopefully Auburn can get Chad Baker, Mazara, and Chris Moore healthy. That becomes a concern if we're going to look ahead. Is you're in the arena. We watched him, fall down and then leave the floor. What did you see inside Rupp Arena tonight, Taylor, when it came to Chad Baker, Mazara? Him back on the bench and how he was trying to get back in the game and when he came back in the game.
So I don't know what they showed on the TV broadcast. I'm assuming they showed this, but before he took the free throw, he was down for a second and he was holding his side kind of right behind the baseline, I guess, like right out of bounds. And then took the free throw and then obviously needed help getting off the court, went straight to the locker room. And when he came back to the bench, he was jogging up and down the tunnel that they come out of before the game during halftime and stuff, looking like he was trying to get warmed up again. And after the game, he was actually asked about it because earlier this season, if y'all remember when he was kind of banged up and people were wondering if he was healthy or not, I think it was something with his side, not like a structural injury, but I don't know if it was from a forearm like that, just repeatedly, and it was just starting to get bruised or what. But he said that when he fell, he took a knee after that shot. I think it was either a knee to the top of his hip or a knee just like to the gut. But he
Yeah,
said, "I'm fine." He said, so it doesn't sound like, and this is
yeah,
from his mouth. So he
yeah.
said he'll be fine.
It was a clear replay. He beat the guy around the corner, and as he went up, the guy went up to take the shot, the Creighton player, and his knee caught him. It looked like either right in the hip or right above the hip in the kidney area in the backside. And he was obviously in a lot of pain. So that was a clear replay on what that was. Um, but he was so emotional, towel and tears on the sideline because I guess it flashes through you that am I really hurt here? Is my career over? But like you said, he worked his way back in, got on the court, and so Taylor reporting there from the locker room. Chad Baker says he will be okay. By the way, post game coming up at Next Round Live. Taylor will be sending all that out. We've got about 5 more minutes or so here with you guys, and then she's going to go start punching all that stuff out for you Auburn fans. She'll take you into the locker room, all brought to you by our friends at Culver's and our friends at Night Edie, who are bringing the NCAA tournament back to Birmingham with the women coming up March 28th through the 31st. Get your tickets right now at ncaa.com/WBB tickets. That's for women's basketball. ncaa.com/WBB tickets. That tournament in Birmingham at March 28th through the 31st. Drink local Birmingham. Auburn took over Lexington. I'm glad the fans supported both. Supported the team there. Need everyone to stick around to see if we sweep Kentucky. I guess we're talking baseball there, with all the Auburn fans up there battling there. That's another thing Michigan will have to deal with, and whoever you end up with in the Elite Eight, Michigan State, Auburn at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. It's going to be Auburn East, Northeast, whatever. It's just down the road, basically. Atlanta's closer. State Farm's closer than our studio is to Auburn, so you can't wait to next Friday and Sunday, huh?
Yeah, and that's another thing that a lot of the players were asked about in the locker room. And Chad actually had a funny response because he said, how many Auburn fans are you expecting to see in Atlanta next weekend? And he just laughed and he said, y'all can answer that question on your own. But I was amazed at how many fans were here. There were a decent amount on Thursday, but I guess after all the Louisville tickets hit the market, Auburn fans took that opportunity to buy some of them up. But Tiger Walk was insane. I sent out some video from our social media and it was packed, packed. The inside, the hotel lobby packed, outside was packed. So a lot of people showed up. And I'm guessing that people that live closer to Atlanta will be taking advantage, or closer to Auburn, Atlanta area will probably be taking advantage of getting to watch them play there. I have no clue what ticket prices are, but if I had to guess, it's probably cheaper than watching them play in Neville Arena.
Yeah. Oh, great point. Great point. So get there. I think it's gonna be a pretty tough ticket, though, relatively speaking,
I'm sure. I'm sure.
for an NCAA tournament game. Jeff says the return of the four-man to the Auburn team. Thank goodness Cheney and Dillon returned to quality minutes tonight. It had been a while since Cheney Johnson had had a night. I mean, it wasn't an overpowering scoring night, but he did a lot of good things tonight. And you sort of called it after the Alabama State game that it looked like Cheney Johnson was starting to look like his old self again.
Yeah, and I think what he needed, and it's what his teammates gave him, was confidence. I think, and I've said this a number of times, but I feel like he himself takes the back seat when Janai's healthy. When Janai was out, that was when he was shining. And I think he kind of puts himself in the back seat when Janai's healthy. And his teammates, he said that his teammates have been encouraging him and they've been, filling him with confidence. And he said that that's really helped because he spends a lot of time in the gym on his own. And he said, I think that work is coming to fruition. And
Go ahead.
wait, no, you
Sorry.
go. You go.
NH3425, not taking not taking away from Pettiford's contribution, but Dylan Cardwell stepped up big after his post-game interview Thursday, true leader. Um, that was so enjoyable because he challenged in the soundbite you sent out. He challenged everybody in the locker room, and he backed up his words tonight with his own play.
He did. He did. He stepped up big time. And like you said, not a crazy scoring night, but I mean, he was 3 of 3 from the field. Every shot he took, he made, aside from free throws, but that's kind of expected at this point, sadly, which is sad because I've seen so many videos and I've witnessed with my own eyes him practicing them so much. But that just is what it is. He had 4 rebounds, he had 3 assists. I mean, he had a good game. He was very effective. And I'm pretty sure, which I'll double check on this, but I heard in the locker room that he was plus 22.
Ooh, that's a big
So,
night. That's a big
yeah,
night,
so he
plus
was very,
22.
very effective when he was on the court.
Yeah, he was. He did a good job on their guys down low, and they had some mismatches out there when Cheney was there that worked to Auburn's advantage. James says the only thing I want to say is where are all those nays? I'm going to do it loud because he capitalized it.
Okay.
Where are all those naysayers that said we wouldn't make it past the weekend? Question mark. Where's that energy now? Question mark. War Eagle emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji. I mean, the history says this is Auburn's first time out of this opening weekend since the Final Four year. So there were some people out there that said maybe they'd lose to Creighton this weekend or to Louisville if that's who they played. And here's Auburn doing something that they haven't done since the Final Four. And Taylor, you're the number one overall seed. The expectation is to be back to the Final Four again.
Yeah, and if any team's going to do it, I think that this is the best chance that Auburn has to make a run. It's the best chance that Bruce has had, I think, since he's been at Auburn. In my opinion, I think this is one of his best teams, most complete teams. So I definitely, right, I'm laughing really hard at this. Had
What's
this in the
happening?
chat room about Sturgill Simpson said John will have to hit some free throws before it's said and done. Then he said
Yeah.
Janai, damn
Yeah.
autocorrect, I'm not Furman. We love Todd Furman, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
Todd
don't
Furman
know.
was on our show. If you miss it on the next round, he cannot get Janai right. He calls him Johnny, Janae. He never gets. I think it's a running joke now. I think it's a running
but
joke now.
but I do think that this team this is the team that I've been most confident in heading into the tournament in ever, maybe. Well, I mean the Jabari team was good, but this team has it all.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Andy says, as a Bama fan who's in the chat tonight, I think the Final Four speculation is clearing up. Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. These are clearly the best four teams in the tourney. Not even close there. Who are you laughing at now?
Like a gang of children on electric scooters just went flying past outside this window.
The last three shows for you, the distractions have been, well, a little more. I think it was the fourth show up in Nashville. The scooters and you now, all of a sudden, it's becoming a thing on this show.
I
The
know, and
scooters,
I could find a place there's not so much movement and activity going on, but I was trying to get here as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So
Where are
this is
you?
where I
Tell
live.
everybody where you are. I mean, that's not, is that a hotel or?
No,
uh,
I'm just sitting on the floor in the hallway in Rupp Arena
Okay. Like where though? Like there's no
outside the media
traffic.
workroom.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
like in the
Okay.
corner. This is the dead end. The media
Okay.
workroom's up to my
Around
right,
the
and then
corner.
yeah, because there's still the Tennessee games going on now, Tennessee UCLA. So I had to
Yeah.
get out of there.
Jeff put great defensive adjustment second half. Auburn hedged nearly all screens instead of just chasing there. It was, I mean, Creighton led at the half. I mean, we didn't talk enough about that. They were Auburn down at the half. And in the second half, I started off the post game here talking about Auburn's defense. That those adjustments by Stephen Pearl, who I think is the defensive coordinator, and the rest of that coaching staff, it was clamped down, and there had to be some concern in the arena from the Auburn folks. Taylor, tell me just about the mood in the place when they go at intermission to the locker room down a bucket.
I think weirdly, people were confident because I think the thought was that there's no way that they're going to shoot 63% from three again in the second half. There's no way that these shots are going to keep falling because a lot of the threes that they took in the first half were contested. So
Right?
I think that was that's what people were holding on to was there's something's got to change. There's no way that
Yeah,
this is going to continue on. And I something that I've heard talked about a lot on broadcasts of games that I've watched is the halftime adjustments. There are so many people that have said Bruce Pearl and this staff are some of the best at adjusting at halftime. And so
absolutely.
whenever they're down at half, that's what I tell myself. I'm like, these people that really know what they're talking about say that they're the best at halftime adjustments. And I mean, think about the Iowa State game. They were down 16 at half and came back and
Yeah.
won that game. So I think when this team, they're a very emotional team, which I think is a blessing and a curse. But when they have their head screwed on right, I don't think that a halftime deficit is really going to impact how they play.
Couple more quick reactions from the chat room before we get Taylor on our way to do some editing. Don't forget the madness coming back to the Magic City. NCAA Women's Basketball Regional tipping off at Legacy Arena March 28th through the 31st. Let's support this event. It'll help us get the men's tournament and more women's tournaments back to Birmingham. Legacy Arena, your tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets, ncaa.com/WBB tickets. Go support the event in Birmingham. And in the long run, it'll help our local teams with more men's and women's tournaments in Birmingham. Also, by our friends at Culver's. Create your own concrete mixers there at Culver's. Don't forget the great food as we continue through the Lenten season. Wonderful seafood if you need to eat that on Fridays. Just so fresh, so good food is Culver's. Welcome to delicious, great locations near our studio on Tattersall, just off 280, and also off I-459, Highway 150 in Hoover. All right, fast dash to the end here. Daniel says tickets right now, Sweet 16 in Atlanta, $350 each, and that's in the nosebleeds right now. So 350. Is that Neville like to you? Is that higher than you thought it was going to be, Taylor?
I feel like that's Neville. Like, I mean, sometimes for bigger games, sometimes standing room only is like $400 a ticket. I'm like, I don't know who's
Yeah.
paying that much to stand, but people do it. I mean, that's probably for a smaller game, a smaller home game for Auburn. You can probably get in cheaper than that. But I mean, yeah, that's typically what a ticket price looks like.
I think I offered our buddy Marlene $300 one time. Just let me stand in there, but I'm kidding. Let's see. Y3 says, "Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Wait a minute. Isn't Taylor sorta kinda a Michigan fan too? I mean, it's Michigan and Auburn in the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
This is like the corn on corn crime here.
yeah. So for those of you who don't know, that I was born in Michigan. My parents grew
Yeah.
up in Michigan. My siblings remember living there a lot more than I do. I don't. We moved to Birmingham when I was very young, so I don't really remember living there, but we visit often. All of my family still lives there. Michigan is like I cheer for Michigan football and stuff because my dad. But if it's ever Auburn versus Michigan in anything, there's no question there. But that's just kind of my secondary team, you know. Like on
Right.
Sundays when the Big Ten was playing basketball, I'd watch Michigan and Michigan State because my mom's a Michigan State fan, my dad's a Michigan fan, my mom's a Michigan State fan. But
I didn't
um,
know that about Gina. Gina's the Michigan State fan.
she
That could
is.
be, I think that could be back-to-back games for you.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
I think my mom has started to love Auburn more than Michigan State.
Oh, I think she has to. I mean, she has to because of you, just to put up with your butt.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Um, Aaron says the bigs of Michigan and Trey is going to be a good matchup as we
Yeah,
start to
Danny
look ahead to
Wolf, who
the.
was on what team last year?
That was Yale, right?
Yep.
I mean, and he does complement the Golden guy who was at Florida Atlantic a couple of years ago when they went to the Final Four. So they do have some success, some tournament success there on that front line. And they do have Trey Donaldson and Amari Burnett's an elite
Oh yeah, Navari
defender.
Burnett.
Yeah, so he's a good. It's a good team, but I mean, we're talking about the number one overall seed here. This is a damn good Auburn team here. T. Rice, Dylan played better D on Kalkbrenner than Broom did, in my opinion. For whatever reason, T. Rice, I'm going to agree with you tonight. I don't know if it was. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Janai didn't get the calls the way he was trying to defend Kalkbrenner, and in I don't know. I thought that a great adjustment that Dylan was on Kalkbrenner as much as he was tonight. I thought no
Yeah,
more I can say to that. It was just
yeah. I mean,
good.
I thought that he had an incredible game, start to
Yeah.
finish.
Vicky says love that Dylan stepped up. A lot of people were, I guess, nervous that Dylan wouldn't play well after challenging everybody. Um, John says Bruce needs to sit Broom down and tell him no more threes. You've got a hard opinion on this.
Yes, I think that they're wasted possessions. I mean, and typically, if you rewind to a couple of weeks ago, every single time that I said stop as he was about to release the ball to take a three, he would make a shot. He would make a 3 point shot. So I was like, okay, I'll shut up. But as of recently, he hasn't been making any. So I'm like, we're wasting possessions. Possessions are valuable. Let's go with something that has a higher percentage of success, please, sir.
Luke says Creighton shot the ball well enough to beat Auburn tonight. I gave you the stat. They hit the kind of threes that only Duke, Florida, and Texas A&M have done this year, and they all beat Auburn. So they hit those kind of threes tonight. But he goes on to say, "We just got some boys that can ball and win
True.
tonight for Luke there. So good for them." All right. Final thought from Taylor, brought to you by our friends at Culver's. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Katie. You finish what you're going to say, and this will be my final thought.
No, no, no. I've got nothing. You go. I've got no final thought here. It's a joyous evening. Love watching you're happy, and hopefully I'm feeling the same way about this time tomorrow.
I was just laughing because KD Johnson just just tweeted Sweet 16 War Eagle. I believe he's from Georgia, and everyone in the replies is trying to, hey Forrester, everyone in the replies is trying to get him to come. So I'm laughing at the possibility of KD Johnson like being in the locker room with Dean before a game.
Yeah.
He
No, he
also
could
had an
be there.
incredible season at George Mason.
Yep. There's Scott. Hey kids, glad to have Forrester along for the ride tonight. Forrester also working on post game for everybody. He and Taylor do the work to make it look so good over there. Go get it at Next Round Live at Next Round Live. Taylor, your travel plans. Have you heard my travel plans if Alabama won yet?
No.
I think I'm gonna rent a car from here in Cleveland and drive straight to Newark.
Oh, genius. I support.
I'm only 6 hours away. Why fly home to turn around and fly back, right?
No reason.
No
Stay on the
reason.
road. Don't know. Stay on the road. I'm not going to
uh,
be driving anywhere. I'll be well, actually no, I'll be driving to Atlanta. I will not be driving home though.
that's right. You got a quick flight out of Lexington. Do you get
Yep.
to go out and party tonight and sleep in, or what time's how early is the flight?
I get to go out and edit locker room video tonight.
You can do
I'll
that with a
probably
cocktail.
yeah. I'll probably I'm going to go back to the hotel, probably get a glass of red wine, go
Yeah.
through locker room video, but hey, I have no complaints.
I'm about to go back to the casino where there's a casino right down the street from where
Yeah,
I'm at.
I saw
And
your Instagram story of poker chips and I was like, "Oh, good lord.
yeah. I was out until about 2:30 last night. And but I
That's
walked
very
in.
early."
I'll tell you a little quick story. For
Okay.
those that stayed here with us, you got to go. Here, quick story. I walk in and I wanted to sit and watch the late games last night. And they said you've got to have at least $200 active bet to sit in a chair. And I said, okay, what games are left? And they're like, you're about to bet $200 on games you don't even know about. I said, I know teams. Just tell me which games are out there. And he said, okay, these four games. And I said, give me 100 on Illinois minus the points and give me 100 on Oregon minus the points. And I sat down, I got my beers, I watched the games. I got up, I cashed two winning tickets. I made $180 just by sitting there.
Nice. Good
Yeah.
work, Dunaway.
Winner, winner. No more landmine. I think I
Yeah,
am
look at
losing.
you go.
I think I'm losing the bracket though. All right, that's it. That's the post game show brought to you by Culver's and the women's basketball tournament. Go get those tickets at ncaa.com/WBB tickets and get ready for that. Taylor, go edit at Next Round Live. Get all the post game. I'll be sending it, retweeting it from mine as well, and we'll continue our coverage from Lexington and from Cleveland tomorrow. Thank you guys for being with us on the basketball show.